Hello, Internet. My name is the Golden Stalfos, and today some shit just went down. Like, holy crap. Um, so for anyone who doesn't know, uh, Microsoft just bought Bethesda, and okay, so there's two ways to look at this. On the one hand, Microsoft is like EA in that every game company they've ever bought has instantly gone down the shithole and never made anything worthwhile ever again. Uh, I mean, honestly, that's more unfair to EA because at least in the early days, they still let Maxis make good games for a little while, you know? But, but yeah, no, this is complete dog shit. Every company Microsoft has ever bought has just immediately started producing complete garbage that alienates everyone who ever cared about their franchises, and it's just not worth playing. Um, just look at what they did to my boy Rare. uh, and and so you know, on the one hand, as someone who really likes several Bethesda franchises, seeing them get acquired by a company who has such a horrible track record is very disappointing. And it also means that if I do ever want to pick up, uh, you know, a Bethesda game in the future, I'll probably have to deal with Xbox branding, or maybe even it being exclusive to the Xbox. I don't think that's going to happen. Like, so far, uh, every Xbox exclusive has also been on Windows 10 because, duh, that's more money for Microsoft. But, you know, either way, I'm supporting Microsoft, and that feels gross. But on the other hand, Bethesda has kind of been going down the shithole for a while anyway, so who cares? Right? Like, I mean, it's been 15 years since the last time they released a new Elder Scrolls. I mean, not literally. I think Skyrim first published in 2011 or something like that. Um, but it's been a long fucking time. And I mean, there was a similarly long gap between Fallouts, and then they did Fallout 76, which yikes. Um, you know, and I mean they do also own the old id Software properties, and they made some really good games in those. Some of the new Wolfensteins have been good, not all of them. uh the new Dooms are pretty cool. um but obviously that's not why I go to Bethesda. Like, you know if I wanted the quintessential experience of Doom, I can get that pretty much anywhere. Right? Like, I could go back and play Resistance 3 on the PlayStation, like PlayStation 3. Um, you know, it's whatever. But or I could play the original Doom, which is still available. Uh, in fact, it's available as freeware and has been ported to everything. Uh, so, you know, but yeah, those games are there and they are cool. So there's that. Um, but overall, I just don't really care about Bethesda very much. Like, I want new Elder Scrolls. I mean, like, Oblivion was probably the most revolutionary RPG experience of my life until I played The Witcher 3. Um, and and they're, very different games when it comes to basically everything. But uh But I always wanted to see a game that took all of that stuff and elevated it. The Radiant AI, the like unique blend of character creation and world building and like just being able to do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, it's cool. I would love to see another game that, takes that to the next level. Skyrim, like, kind of tried, but it also kind of, like, just dumbed down everything, right? Like, it did still have Radiant AI, but it added Radiant quests, which are just, like, regular quests, but so boring and predictable a machine could write them, and does. And the main problem with that is you can't tell the difference between the Radiant quest and the regular quest because just as much effort was put into the regular quests, i.e., zero. Um, you know, the two-handing system was kind of cool, but I felt like it had a lot of stuff that you had to give up compared to Oblivion. Like in Oblivion, you could hold a sword and a shield and cast magic. You couldn't hold two swords, sure, uh, but you could hold more than two magics at a time because you had a hotbar and you could switch between your magics pretty quickly. Um, I mean, even on console, they had this selection wheel that you could go to quick select your magic. So, like, you know, um, and I feel like Skyrim was specifically dumbed down in ways to make it more console friendly without expanding on the features of Oblivion, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I can see the value in the older Elder Scrolls games too, but honestly, like the controls and the interface and just the shittiness of the combat has always just turned me off so much. Like I can't get invested in a story, no matter how good that story is, if the way I interact with that story is a giant heaping pile of dog shit. you know? Like you could write the greatest, most moving film in the world, but if you put it in grainy black and white and distort the audio, I'm not going to enjoy the story or even know what the fuck it is, you know? And that's kind of what it feels like playing the old, like, Morrowind or whatever. It's just like, I can't play this. This control scheme is dog shit. You don't hit anything when you attack. It's awful. You know? Awful. And the thing, like, if you want to build in a percentage chance to hit type thing, like with D&D, well, don't make it real time. D&D is turn-based for a reason. Your chance to hit rolls make more sense in a turn-based scenario than they do in a real-time scenario. Because when you swing your sword in real time and you see the animation go through your enemy, then you want it to deal damage? Maybe? But yeah. Same thing kind of goes for Fallout. Like, I really like Fallout 3 and New Vegas. I haven't played 4 yet. I heard it wasn't quite as good. But the older Fallout games are just like a completely different fucking genre, and I can't really get into them. Uh, I can understand why people who were into that are pissed off about the genre shift because, like, that's how I feel about Paper Mario. But for me personally, I like New Vegas, so I don't like the originals. But that's just me. Yeah, yeah. In general, though, it's just weird. Like Bethesda, like why would they sell out to Microsoft? Like they make so much money on their own. They've done so well as a solo publisher. Like it's crazy to me. I mean, every time they make a game, they should be raking it in. They're self-publishing because Bethesda owns its own publishing branch, so like they don't have to pay publishing costs to anyone else. And they sh- how are they selling out? How does that make financial sense for them? Because like, you know, they have several different franchises that they make, and they do like not quite annual releases, but like there's basically a new game from them coming out every year or two. And every game makes shitloads of money. I mean, Skyrim alone has sold like 30 million copies, all at full fucking price because it's fucking Skyrim. Every time it gets a new port, it comes in at full price and people buy it again for some fucking reason. Uh, and like, and it's cool and all, but like, surely they've got more money than Microsoft would be willing to offer them, right? I mean, right? I mean, you think about it, like, every single game they sell is $60 a pop. And right, like, obviously, one game sale doesn't cover their production costs, right? Typically, you know, a lot of games cost like 20 or 30 million to produce, and you sell it for $60 and you sell 10 million copies, and you make back $600 million, and well, there you go. That's a profitable fucking company, I'd say. Um, and Bethesda does that all the time. Like that's their business model. They spend a lot of money to make a couple of really good games, you know, and then those games sell like wildfire, and you know, and sometimes they make dog shit games, and they still sell pretty well because fuck you. But looking at you, Fallout 76. But yeah, I don't understand this decision on Bethesda's end. Like, it makes sense for Microsoft because more IPs, more developers, more shit they can put behind the Xbox brand to give them an edge, because right now no one is considering buying the Xbox because what does Xbox have? What does Xbox have that PlayStation doesn't? Jack fucking shit. That's what. Halo? Oh yeah, sure, whatever. I forgot that it's 2003 and people care about Halo. Um, I mean, I seriously, no one gives a shit about Halo anymore. I mean, like, even the diehard people who cared about Halo moved on to Destiny with the developers of Halo who moved on to Destiny. Like, or all the shitty knockoffs that has. Anthem and whatever. I don't know. I don't play garbage games. But but yeah. Call of Duty's multi-platform, like every worthwhile game that appeals to the shithead demographic that only plays shooters is on every platform, and the only advantage the Xbox might have is they have a cheaper version, but that cheaper version looks even more dog shit than the expensive version. Like, they both look like garbage. Honestly, I don't know who approved these product designs because they're all horrible. Right? Like, the PS4 looks pretty fucking sleek. It just kind of sits there. It's kind of angled, trapezoidal, but it just mostly just sits there and it's a box. That's cool. But the PS5, I mean, look at that shit. Looks like Kaiba's popped fucking collar. Like, what the fuck? Who thought that was good? I would be embarrassed to have that, on the display case under my TV. Like, that looks ugly as fuck. You know? And not to mention that there is nothing that has a similar aesthetic anywhere in the world, right? Like, that could not possibly go well with my DVD player or my PS4 or my PC or anything else that is sitting in my entertainment center, right? Like, that's just gonna look awful. Um, and the same thing goes for the Xbox. Like, one of them is just a cube, just this ridiculously big black cube that looks gross. It's not like the GameCube. The GameCube was adorable. It's small and gray and it has a little handle. It's cute, functional. But this is just like the monolith or something. It's like one of those Blorgon ships. Like Volgon. I don't know why I said Blorgon. That's like a totally different species from a totally different franchise. Anyway, like it's just gross. And then the cheaper version, which this is stupid because one is called the Series X and the other is called the Series S. Yeah, sure. Those don't sound exactly the fucking same, you dumbasses. But anyway, the cheaper version is like a rectangular prism with a weird circle cut out of it that's a different color. And it's just like, why would you do this? Why would you do this? Who hurt you? What do you... Why would anyone want a piece of plastic that looks like that? That's just crap. And like, I get it. Aesthetics isn't always like the number one thing for a console. Like, a lot of previous consoles are just, a box, right? Like, the Wii doesn't look aesthetically pleasing. It's just there, but it's thin and it sits vertically and you can fit it into a small place. So it's not in the way, The PS3 looks pretty fucking good. Even though it's got that weird rounded top, so you can't put anything else on top of it. But then again, you probably shouldn't be stacking anything on top of your PS3. It's not a stereo setup. But honestly, I just don't understand. I don't understand these consoles. And I don't understand why Bethesda is selling to Microsoft. It's weird. I mean, again, it makes sense for Microsoft because now they can have exclusives that people will actually want, because before they didn't. Like, the only reason I'm even looking at next gen consoles is the Demon's Souls remake. That's literally it. If that comes to PC, I won't buy a next gen console because they're worthless. The only reason I have a PS4 is because Bloodborne. That's it. That's the only fucking reason. And even that, I waited until last year to get one on Black Friday sales, right? Like, I have no interest in a PlayStation. I don't need it. I've got a PC. But, a damn good PC, actually. But yeah, I'm much more interested in a 3080, honestly. That would be a much more useful expense for me. Like, I would love that, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. I don't get it, honestly. And I don't know how to feel about it because, like I said at the beginning, on the one hand, Microsoft is horrible to all the companies that they've bought up, and they just like stop existing and stop making worthwhile projects and just die. Uh, but on the other hand, Bethesda's kind of walked that road already, and I don't know, like, it's been a long time since Oblivion. It's been a long time since New Vegas, and I don't really have any hope that they're going to go back to that and make better games than that, So whatever, Microsoft can have them, but man, this is a weird world we live in. I mean, like, because still, like, how does this make financial sense to Bethesda? What amount of money could Microsoft be offering that is worth, just giving up their autonomy? Like, they make popular games that sell a lot, and they've made a lot of them. It's just mind-boggling to me. I can't imagine what amount of money Microsoft would have to offer for them to be like, yeah, that's worth it. And we're still raking in cash on our games from 3 generations ago, GTA style, but fuck it, we'll sell out. I don't know. It's crazy. So yeah, that's the whole video. That's all the news. Thank you all for watching and listening to my ranting and raving. And I'll see you in the next live. Laters. Okay, end card time. I'm supposed to tell you to like, comment, subscribe, all that stupid YouTube shit. There's a bell thingy, whatever. I have all the social media stuff: Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Mostly I use Facebook and Twitter to tell you about my Twitch and YouTube uploads. I've got a Patreon, but Patreon is one of those things where people who can afford to throw away money give money to people who can't. And so if you can't afford to throw away money, then you shouldn't be doing that. And if you can afford to throw away money, consider charities. There's a pandemic, there's global warming, there's millions of people in the world who don't have toilets, which is just awful. So I've linked a few charities in the description down below in case you're interested in that. And if you can't donate money to a charity, consider donating some of your time, because that's also very useful. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.